back to the National Defense. There is a great new movie that starts streaming on Paramount Plus June 17th. It's inspired by the true story of a couple in a small town that find a loophole in the lottery. Jerry and Marge Go Large starts streaming June 17th, Paramount Plus, starring Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening. They join us here at the National Defense. Thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
I love this movie. This is it's a movie that's needed right now. I really do believe that. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great relationship movie. It's in many ways. And Annette, had you two ever met before you started this movie?
We met doing a benefit for the Actors Fund, which is a social services organization for people in show business. It's a kind of safety net. So we were doing a benefit at a theater in Los Angeles, and that's when we met. And I was actually he made a big impression on me. Of course, I'd seen his work, but as a person, as a pro, the fact that he would show up and do this for the Actors Fund, which just changed its name, by the way. It's now called the Entertainment Community Fund because it's a more apt name. But anyway, that's how we met. So when I knew that Bryan was doing the movie, it made a huge difference to me because I felt we would get along and have a good time together, and we did. It was a joy. And it's about a happy couple. You know, they're a happy couple. They've been married their whole lives.
Yeah, and the chemistry. The reason I asked that is because your chemistry is so great in this.
Good, thank you.
And was that just a natural kind of thing, Bryan?
It is. Well, when we first met, I'm going right there. Well, I've been married a long time. I know when I hear a cue.
Yeah.
She made a great impression on me when I first met her. She spilled her coffee on me. I never forget that. No. You often, if things work out well, you have a natural attraction and affinity for each other, and a natural respect in how the person approaches the work, and that's the most important thing. We know that we have a job to do. It makes it so much more of an enjoyable experience if you actually like and respect the person that you work with, and find different little things that we can play with. And it's our job to do that, to feel comfortable with each other, and then it also conveys to the screen, that we feel, you see when couples, there's nothing going on between them.
Yeah.
That they don't feel comfortable to touch each other when they're gesturing or something. And it's like, oh, that's a weird thing. But fortunately, we found that, and we have a good time.
And did you guys know about this story before? Because I had never heard about this story. And it's such a fascinating, real story that it was just destined to become a movie. Did you know anything about it at all?
I didn't. I hadn't read. There was a major article in the New Yorker about these people. And there were other things out there in the world because it was such an incredible story. The fact that Jerry finds this loophole, as you mentioned, in the lottery, and then they very openly, they were not cheating, and they never hid what they were doing. They got this basically fund together from their town, other friends of theirs that live in Everett, Michigan, where they're from, which is a small town. Then they would drive to Massachusetts, where the lottery was, and spend huge amounts of money buying all of these lottery tickets, knowing, because Jerry had figured it out, that they were going to make money. By the end, they were buying $500,000 worth of tickets. It would take them days to just buy the tickets. Then they're sitting in the hotel room together, counting the tickets, finding the ones that matched, and they really had a good time.
Yeah, even though that took them a couple weeks to do that,
yes,
to look at each and every ticket, and then they double-checked and looked at it again to make sure they didn't throw away.
And in the movie, it's true. He saved all of the tickets.
Yeah.
He did, and in fact, they were audited. And it's actually one of the good stories that Jerry told us that's not in the movie. They were audited, and the guys that came basically looked at everything and said, it's totally clean. The next year, the same guys were told, hey, you got to go back and, check out that couple again. They showed up, and they said, never mind, Jerry. I hope this is okay to say. Never mind, Jerry. We don't even need to look at everything. Let's just talk about fishing. And they sat down and chatted with them because Jerry was completely honest and kept records of everything. And
I mean, this was a total legal maneuver.
That's
All they were doing is playing the lottery, right?
That's right. They were not cheating. No.
It's completely legal, and it created an ability and an avenue for them to be able to just have this fun adventure. So for 9 years, they traveled to Massachusetts and had this experience. And then
it was over 9 years.
9 years. Yeah. And they, by the way, they did not move. They didn't buy a new house. They bought a new truck. They just, they shared with their neighbors. People were able to put their kids through college and, buy a house or have a down payment on something.
Right.
So,
open a business, things like that.
They saved the town, basically. And what a great cast all the way through this movie. The great Michael McKean, of course. Yeah. And the little girl, Devin McDowell, as Liz. Watch out for her. Watch out for her. I love the scenes with her and Pop Pop. Now, Brian, you don't have any grandkids yet, right?
I do not.
Well, you were great with her, and those scenes were so special. That was cool.
Yeah. I only have one daughter, and right now, she's not close to engaging into that. And so it's like, I think my wife and I are going to have to get our grandparent urges in a dog. We're going to have to, that's what I said, we're going to get a dog. I just have to have something that I could send my love.
Right. And the convenience store manager is fantastic. Was that Rainn Wilson?
Yeah.
As a convenience store? Oh, wow. What a character that was in the movie.
Great character. Larry Wilmore as our friend and accountant. And it goes on. It was a great cast. We had a really good time shooting it. And I think it shows.
Yeah, we're talking to Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening here on the National Defense. The great new movie streaming on Paramount Plus June 17th at Jerry and Marge Go Large. And, Annette, you've done so much amazing work. The Grifters, American Beauty, Mrs. Harris, and now even into the Captain Marvel universe. Wow.
Yeah.
So what drew you to this role?
It was during...
Besides Brian, of course.
Yes. Well, that was a big factor, obviously, but it was during COVID, and it was the first thing that I read that really lifted my spirits. And I thought, boy, do I need this. And also maybe people out there would enjoy a feel-good story about a wonderful couple from the Midwest who had this adventure together. So that was really... a huge part of it was just the narrative itself and the story that it tells. I love other kinds of material. I do things that are on the dark side quite often, but this was just such a refreshing story. I'm from the Midwest. My parents are from the Midwest. I was born in Kansas, and just to have a story that is from that part of the world about real people, that I just loved it. And Brian was already signed on, so I knew that I would get to work with him. So, yeah.
We're based in Kansas City. So,
okay.
that Midwest sentimentality, I picked up on that right away. And Brian, aside from stale champagne, this movie has very little drinking. I thought there'd be all kinds of scenes with everybody doing multiple shots of Dos Hombres mezcal.
Yeah. The Dos Hombres, that side business is going gangbusters. We're doing incredibly well. We're number 5 now of all the mezcals.
It's so funny to watch you and your buddy going through different towns and bartending and handing out shots. That's got to be a blast. That's so good.
It's a lot of fun.
Hey, so now our audience is mainly comprised of active duty military veterans and their families. And I couldn't let this go by because this is a very special week. It's the 78th anniversary of D-Day. And, Brian, thank you so much for your work in Saving Private Ryan. How was that experience?
It's just exceptional. At that time, I was just, you get an opportunity to work with Steven Spielberg, and you're just grateful, and the fact that it was a kind of a compromised character. He had one arm, And so I worked on this idea of holding a demi-tasse cup and stirring my coffee, tap on the edge of the cup, put it in the saucer, then readjust it, put the saucer down, all the while not looking at it. I was looking at a report, To be able to do that, that's the fun part is, well, how would this man function? You learn to deal without it. So I worked on that and worked on that and worked on that. And Stephen, it was time to shoot my scene at that scene. And I said, Stephen, I have this idea. And I go, what is it? He says, what is it? And I showed him the whole thing. He goes, man, that's fantastic. I can't use it, but it's fantastic. He says, I just want to come zipping right in on you. And you look up and tell the captain, we've got to find this Ryan character. And it's like, okay, get right to it.
Ryan. And thank you so much for the time. Thanks for the great movie. It's so good. I would encourage everybody to see this. It's just such a great feel-good story. Jerry and Marge Go Large start streaming June 17th on Paramount Plus. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for your service. I
Yeah.
hope you like the movie.